Powerhouse, Georgia. What is going on, everybody? I hope everybody's having a phenomenal Thursday. I am actually here on the phone with a special guest, basically a celebrity here in the VEMA culture, in the VEMA world. His story is absolutely amazing, and he just has so much value, so much input, and, him and I have been able to connect online, and we've just been able to talk, and, I just thought what a great experience it would be to connect here on a call. And I actually asked him, if we could do a little interview, a little video interview in Arizona in June over the convention. But he was like, why not do it now? And so definitely glad we have him here on the call. This guy is just phenomenal. He loves to help people. He has so much experience. He has so many years of experience. He was basically a YPR in his previous company, really building his organization. But this guy, he's an ambassador here at VEMA. And one of the fastest organizations and one of the top leaders here in the company. He's been able to just have so much success. And so you guys, I just please ask you guys to pull out a pen and paper and just jot down some notes, take down some notes, because what this guy has to tell you is just phenomenal. His experience, his knowledge is just over the top. And Mr. John Melton here is literally one of the best trainers in the whole entire network industry. This guy right here, literally, he is one of the top social media experts. He knows how to utilize social media and how to capture leads and how to approach people the right way, and that's really what I kind of want to go over. But really quickly, Mr. John Melton, are you there?
Yes, sir. DJ, I'm here.
Awesome, good stuff. Well, Mr. John, man, if you want to go ahead and share your story real quick, and then I'll go into asking you a couple questions on social media and how you became successful and everything like that. Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great, man. Yeah, well, first of all, really appreciate all the kind words, and just really excited to be on this interview, on this call with you. And the bottom line is, man, I was like you guys. Those of you that are young, I was hungry, ambitious. To be honest, I wasn't a very good student in school. I mean, I liked school because I was, all about, having fun and parties and girls and, my buddies and all that, and sports, right? Baseball is what I played. But, the bottom line is, when I was young, I was just not I guess you could say I wasn't the best student, but I liked school. Does that make sense? Like, I liked the fun part. I didn't like the studying part. I didn't like the taking test part. I just wasn't into that stuff. So I always wanted to, find a way to make a lot of money. But, in school you got to learn about geology and, all this stuff that I don't really care about, history. And, not to say I don't care about it now, but when I was that age, I just didn't care. I just wanted to make money. And, I ended up getting into community college just because everybody else was going off to college. I had nothing else better to do. And it's funny, a guy that I actually didn't get along with real well reached out to me through his girlfriend, who I waited tables with when I was a waiter at 20 years old. And, he wanted me to come take a look at an opportunity meeting. I went out to a presentation. It was at an office, actually. So it wasn't like a home meeting. It was actually an office meeting. And I just remember being so blown away. Everybody was so friendly. I never had anybody ask me as many questions as these people were asking me. I didn't know they were just trying to build rapport. But the fact of the matter is, I was like, man, we could sell some lotions, potions, pills, water filters, skincare, hair care, and cleaning products and make residual income and get rich. This is crazy. So I got in, and, I had no idea what I was doing. I never heard of network marketing. I just thought, hey, I know people that use cleaning products. I know people that use shampoo. And I did that company for 2 years. It was a startup company. Unfortunately, like most startup companies, it went out of business. But I learned a lot. And although I was discouraged when it went out of business, I didn't realize how much that was going to permanently impact me. And I went into the mortgage business, and I actually became the rookie of the year at 24 years old. I made $125,000. My second year in the mortgage business, I made $250,000 and was the number one loan officer in the company. But I can tell you that was because of what I learned in those first 2 years in that first company I was in, that even though it went out of business, I took that education, I took that experience and applied it to the mortgage business and did really well. But here's the problem. You're only as good as your last month in the mortgage business, and that was during the boom where anybody could make money in the mortgage industry at that time. I mean, if you just had a little bit of a work ethic, they were giving away the money back then. And, the market started to dry up in 2006. I also invested in real estate, and unfortunately I bought at the peak of the market. So I bought high and I sold low. And I ended up making half the money in 2006 that I made in 2005, and I lost $1 million in real estate. So that opened my mind back up to network marketing, and a buddy of mine introduced me to a company that did services, and I was excited about selling, phone service and energy because I thought everybody has it. I don't have to sell products. I don't have to convince people to buy something they don't want every month. That was my mindset. That's what I thought. And I got into that company, and because I did so well in the mortgage business, I had so much more influence. Everybody in the mortgage company that I worked for, which is a big company in Baltimore, Maryland, they really knew who I was. I was heavily recognized. I was winning all the contests and all the cruises, and I won a lot of stuff, and everybody knew I was always on the leaderboard. I remember one time the owner saying, we're going to give John something he's already got because we don't have any more awards to give him. He's already gotten one of everything we give out, so we're just going to have to give him another T-shirt or another whatever it was. You know what I mean? So I just remember it was like a great feeling. I mean, we were crushing it, making all this money, but at the end of the day, that didn't last, and it's a very volatile business to be in. It's very up and down depending on the rates, depending on the real estate market. So when I got involved in that other network marketing company, the service-based company, I did that part-time for 2 years. I made over $6,000 my first month. I hit a mid-level position after 6 months, made about $10,000 that month part-time while I was still doing mortgages. So when people say, I wish I could do it full-time, no, your story's better when you do it part-time. Being able to tell someone you made $10,000 part-time is way better than telling someone you made $10,000 full-time, or even a couple thousand. You make $1,000 or $2,000 part-time, that sounds a lot better than if it's full-time, right? So long story short, I was in that company part-time for 2 years. I fired my boss in 2008, haven't had a job since. But I did that company full-time for 5 years, made six figures every year. I've actually made six figures for the last decade straight, and that's a combination of the mortgage business and also network marketing. But about a year and a half ago, I resigned from that company because I was fed up. I was so sick and tired of seeing people fail in that company. There just wasn't a lot of residual. There's not a lot of residual in a service, especially when you're selling another company's service, right? You're selling Comcast or DirecTV or Dish Network. There's not a lot of profit margin there. So it was just about recruiting, and when the recruiting dried up, the residual went with it, and I just was sick of having the revolving door feeling, like people are coming in as quickly as they're going out the door. And when I started to research the industry, I looked at everything. I looked at affiliate programs, online programs. I looked at old school companies, new school companies, products, services. I looked at everything. I was interviewing top leaders, top, earners, CEOs. And you know what's interesting? I probably forgot to mention this actually, but when that first company went out of business, my entire upline and the whole company, the whole organization researched the industry back then, that first company I was in. And they actually chose to go with a company called New Vision, which was BK Braco's old company. So I knew BK from way back then, and I did join New Vision, and I was actually there when they transitioned into Vima. I just wasn't feeling it back then because I was so discouraged and distraught by the first company going under. And, when you're 22, 23, and you know what I mean, you're just like, I sacrificed 2 years, it didn't work out, now I'm going to go do this other thing. No, I'm going to go get a real job. That's what I thought at the time, and I ended up, my father passed away, Nadia got pregnant, and that's when I got into the mortgage business. So I just want to kind of, bring it all full circle. I knew about Vima. I had been a customer on and off for 10 years just on the liquid vitamins. So when I saw they had gotten into, Verve, and they had actually, the month that I hit up BK to talk about Vima, because I heard some things were going on over there, was the same month they launched Bold, and he sent me some samples, and I was like, this is the greatest drink ever. Since then, I've actually changed my mind, and I think Body Burn and Mojo are the best drinks ever. I can't wait to try the Body Build, but long and short of it is, I came over to Vima 18 months ago. We hit Ambassador in less than 90 days. We built a team all over the world, literally have people coming in Mexico, Australia, all over the U.S. Literally a global business, and it's been pretty crazy, been a pretty crazy ride. And, the thing I like most about Vima is I never feel bad if someone doesn't make money because ultimately you're just simply buying a great product that you should consume anyway over the other junk that's out there. So that's my story in a nutshell. And, I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of my background.
Yes, that was amazing right there. Wow. What an incredible story, and it's just phenomenal to hear your ups and downs, and, exactly where you're at today is just incredible to hear. I think it gives a lot of people encouragement. But, yeah, we were just talking about the Eric Worre enrolling 20 people within 30 days. And what's crazy is that Mr. John Melton here actually did that like within a week for like 4 weeks straight. And so we're about to do that here in Georgia for this next rank management period from January 23rd to February 19th. And so, John, if you could kind of go over a little bit of your experience when you came over to Beam and how you really launched it and how a lot of people joined in the beginning that caused that almost big bang.
Well, I'll definitely say that, I was in a unique situation because I was, I reached the second highest level in my previous company. And, I made six figures 5 years straight. I was on all the President's Club retreats and, the big, trips. And I always was walking the stage and, and a lot of leaders did, right? But the leaders that, walked the stage had the most edification. The leaders that were in the magazine had the most edification. So we had a lot of edification. And when we left, it was a shock to many. So we had a lot of people reach out to us. So we were obviously in a very unique situation. We had so many people hitting us up. So I know a lot of those people weren't even on our team or even in the same company. They were from all over. So, we put in a ton of people. And I will say this. If you really want to create momentum, follow what Eric teaches to a T, because I agree. If you go all out massive action and make no excuses just for 30 days. I mean, come on. Imagine if for 30 days or even 90 to 120 days, you just sacrificed those 3 months to 4 months. It's no different than when someone does like a weight loss challenge, right? For just 90 days. 20 years from now, you'll remember those 90 days because of the difference it made in your health or in your wealth, right? So long story short, I would say do exactly step by step what Eric teaches, because I do agree that if you can launch someone's business, not just join, but launch and enroll that many people in 30 days, I mean, to an average person, just to enroll a few people is a big deal, let alone 20 in 30 days, but it takes an unusual, an extraordinary, just work ethic. I mean, you have to really hit it hard. And you can't make excuses like, I want to go watch this playoff football game, or I want to go, on a little mini vacation, or I'm, going out to the movies tonight with my buddies or with my, my girlfriend, whatever. I mean, you could do it, but it's less likely you will achieve the goal that you have. I don't think it's bad that once you achieve the goal to reward yourself. But, some people, the reason they don't achieve their goals is because they keep stopping. They keep, they run hard for a week and then they take off for a week, or they run hard for a few days and then they don't do anything for a few days. They easily get off track, and that's the problem with most people. They're not consistently consistent with their business, which is why Eric has, that 30-day plan. He has that 90-day plan as well. I know a lot of people have gone on his 90-day run, and they've implemented what he teaches, and they've created huge results because of it. In fact, one of the top $1 million earners I know that was in my former company was mentored by Eric like 20 years ago and did that 90-day challenge that he does, or whatever he calls it. So the 90-day run, you know what I mean? So, but again, this is a big part of it, this 30-day run of enrolling 20 people in 30 days. But again, all out massive action is what it's going to take to get the results. And you have to lead by example, or nobody on your team will do it if you don't do it.
Awesome, for sure, definitely. That's amazing right there. And I mean, you guys just heard it from Mr. John Melton, who just has so much experience and has really launched his business. And obviously, by enrolling 20 within 30 days, if you can completely change your life, like he was saying, it's only 30 days. But we're going to go ahead and move on to the next question because we know your time is valuable, John. So before we wrap this up, if you could maybe talk a little bit about the importance of social media and how you need to have a professional presence and how to give value, and you're just so good at this. And so we would really love to hear a little bit about, your input and insight on social media.
Yeah, I mean, let me just clear up something real quick. And DJ, I'm glad you asked me this question. Social media is a place for you to meet people, to build relationships, meet people first. You got to connect with them. You got to meet people, right? And then develop a relationship with that person. And then, in turn, provide a lot of value and share your life experiences, traveling, children, maybe you're married, maybe you're not, maybe you're in college, maybe you're, a bartender. whatever. You just have to be you. You're especially like for me, I do a lot on Facebook, and Facebook is definitely a platform where you can mix it up. Like Instagram has its purpose and Twitter has its purpose. I'm not saying I don't like Instagram or Twitter. I just don't like them as much as Facebook. Facebook's where I've done most of my damage. My only purpose for having the other platforms is just to bring people back to Facebook. But the whole thing is my goal is to provide value. Sometimes I provide tips and training and, stuff like that, insights, experiences, whatever. And then other times I'm just having fun. I'm being myself. And I think it's good to mix it up a little bit. I teach the 90-10 rule. 90% of the time, you want to be yourself, you want to have fun, you want to provide value, you want to show lifestyle, you want to inspire people, educate people, mix it up 90% of the time. 10% of the time, you can promote your business, you can share something about your product. Only 10% of the time, though. So go back and look at your last 10 posts. Did you share Vima too much, talk about Verve too much? You know what I mean? Or are you, following that 90-10 rule? And maybe you never heard the 90-10 rule. Now, I will say there's guys like Alex or Brad or Tom or Brian. There's certain guys that make millions of dollars in Vima. Awesome. They can talk about whatever they want. When you get to that point, you can talk about whatever you want. But until you get to that point, I would encourage you to be a little bit more mysterious, right? I'd rather someone reaches out to me because they want to know what I do. Now, I'm sure you guys would agree with my wife and I hitting Ambassador. We could really promote anything we want on Facebook. I mean, I could promote Vima every day, all day if I wanted to, but, my problem with doing that is you're only going to get likes and comments from people within Vima. So, if I want to attract people that are not in Vima, then I need to mix it up a little bit, right? And that's why I do more providing value, and I connect with people, and I have a lot of private conversations. I mean, literally all day, every day, I am private messaging people. I don't even really text message as much as I used to. I use Voxer, I use WhatsApp, and I use a ton of Facebook because for me personally, this is my experience, I think it's so much better to talk to someone, but you have your pictures, your profile, your everything that they can more so relate to than if I'm just text messaging. Even talking to someone, it's not as effective as talking to them through Facebook because, again, they get to see you and what you're all about, So just realize it's a place to meet people, develop relationships, and eventually that can turn into prospects, that can turn into new business partners and customers. But you have to, go through the process and not look at it as a means to just sell or recruit. It's just a way to meet people. So let me give you an example. Let's say you meet someone today and you say, hey, Bob, great to connect with you. What do you do, right? Where are you from? You just get to know them a little bit. And maybe they're an entrepreneur. You're like, oh, that's awesome. You own your own business. I'm also an entrepreneur. I always tell people I'm a multipreneur since I have multiple streams of income, right? And, the fact of the matter is I want to get to know that person, but more so I'd like to get on the phone to get to know that person. I'd like to meet with them for coffee, lunch, or breakfast and meet them in person, right? So if you can meet them in person, great. And sometimes over the phone might be the way you meet them in person. And sometimes it might be face-to-face you meet them in person. But, again, I use Facebook to meet them, right? I'll use LinkedIn to meet them. I'll use whatever to meet them, virtually, but then I want to meet them either physically or at least over the phone because I know that I have a better chance of really developing a relationship with someone over time, but it's got to start with that face-to-face or voice-to-voice connection, and from there, who knows what it could turn into. And there's two ways to really provide or build the relationship. One is through personal communication, one-on-one communication. Two is through providing value. So I might connect with you one time over the phone, 2 times over the phone, but then you're also watching my videos. Maybe some of them are entertaining. Maybe some of my posts are educational, inspirational, like I said before. But I just want to clarify that I look at Facebook as just another tool to meet people. It's not meant to replace the typical way of network marketing building. You know what I mean? Like, I don't look at Facebook as a way to replace having to do home events or hotel events or do 3-way calls. I just look at it as a supplemental, tool to help facilitate all of that other stuff.
Amazing. Wow, that was incredible right there. And I think the way you just explained it, how basic it was, the way that you put it out, I think that's going to be great for this powerhouse network to understand, the social media way to really build this, and to know that social media is a place to meet people and not just to sell people and not just to recruit people. It's a way to meet people, and like you said, you contact them and you connect with them, and then you, of course, add value and share pictures and share your lifestyle and everything like that. And, of course, the 90-10 rule, that's phenomenal, adding 90% of value and then 10% asking for business. So amazing, great input, John, and thank you for your time. Is there any last words of encouragement, any last tips that you would like to share with us today?
Well, I actually have a Facebook marketing course right now for network marketers, and it's funny because, the things that I think a marketer needs to know, it's sometimes a lot different than what I realized. You know what I mean? Like I think they just need to know like strategy and philosophy, and a lot of it is just they need to build up confidence. They need to believe in themselves. So I know some of you that are listening are saying, well, I'm not going to do a video. What am I going to say? It's very simple. In fact, I'll give you a perfect example. You're listening to this right now. Did you learn something? If you did, then write down a couple notes and make a video about what you just learned. That's what you do a video about. It's called ILT, invest, which means invest money or time or both. Learn the information. T stands for teach the information, okay? And think about this. It's not just about, using social media to meet and then, prospect, which, by the way, you do have to at some point pop the question and, see if people are open to another, source of income, a side project, whatever script you're using. But the point is, once you get them in, now, your goal is to get in front of their contacts, whether it's a home event, three-way call, whatever. You need to get into their warm market, and then use Facebook to have ongoing communication with your community, with your team, kind of like you're sharing this within your private group, and realize that you could listen to a call like this and do a video and share this with your following, your friends, and also share it with your team so that they're learning this same information. Why keep it all inside? Why read a great book and not tell anyone about it? Why attend a great seminar and keep it all inside? And it's interesting because, like in my Facebook course, I thought all these people were, like more experienced networkers, and some of them have only been in for a few months. I think we have one person that just joined a couple of weeks ago into the industry. I'm just like, wow. And the objections they give me is, I don't have the confidence to do a video. I don't know what to say on Facebook. I don't know how to connect with people. I'm like, oh my gosh, you don't even understand the basics. So I do believe that people need to also remember that you have to learn these basic skills. It's not just about, Facebook might not even be here in 10 years, but if you can learn how to develop relationships and have a conversation with someone, get to know someone without being disgenuine or being, an obvious like you're obviously prospecting them. Like when someone randomly reaches out to me, DJ, and they say, hey, John, nice to meet you. What are your dreams and goals? I'm just like, dude, I don't even know you. Like, who asks that question to a random person? Clearly, they're trying to sell me something. But does that make sense? Learn the basics. If you don't have confidence in yourself, you'll never be successful no matter what we teach you. If you don't believe that you can have success in network marketing, or you don't believe that you can provide value, that's a deeper issue that you need to address. If you don't know how to have a conversation with someone with confidence, that's something deeper that you need to work on. And understand, again, the best part about our industry, it's all about personal development. It's all about training. It's all about support. You get, a mentor, a coach that can help you with that. So I just kind of wanted to throw that in there because learning what I just taught but not having the basic foundation on how to talk to people or having confidence, having posture, having belief in what you are saying or what you are doing, even a little thing like doing a 30-second video makes you so nervous that you can't even do it because you either have an ego or just lack confidence. These are all deeper issues that need to also be addressed. And the good news is in our business, our type of business, our industry, you have to develop into that person. Some people say, I want 10,000 people on my team. It's like, no, you don't, because you couldn't handle it. You have to become the person that can lead a team of 10,000. So anyway, I hope that is a good way to kind of sum it all up,
Phenomenal. Great ending right there. I think that just topped it off. All your value has been phenomenal. Really just that last part about confidence was just such a just top on the, as a cherry on the cupcake. And so thank you so much, Mr. John Melton, for taking your time out to share with us some value. I really think we went over some great points, and I really think this is going to add value and add an advantage to my group. And so I thank you for taking your time. And let's take VMA number one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, brother. I appreciate you having me on, and I hope today helped, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Sounds great, brother. Thanks for your time, John.
All right, man. Have an awesome day. Bye.